Hello, special populations of gifted participants. This is a quick how-to guide on collecting the demographics for your specific school to analyze and help you make decisions on what your school needs to become culturally diverse on your site. You're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need to download the 1819 District Demographics Excel spreadsheet from tonight's Module 1. You're going to need to download the Special Pops Demographic Data Collection tool from Module 1. You're going to need a calculator, and those are in your computer if you need one. You just go to your Finder and type in calculator, and it'll bring it right up for you. And you're going to need a little bit of patience. Once you get the steps of this process, it becomes kind of routine and you can get it done pretty quickly, but the first couple ones just require a little bit of patience is all. All right, so I've already downloaded and opened up the spreadsheet. This is a huge spreadsheet. It includes all 75,000 students in our district, including our charter schools. And I've already downloaded and opened the demographic data collection tool. All right. And I don't need my calculator yet, but I will in just a minute. So just to orient you to this spreadsheet, you're going to see this dark black at the top, and that's going to give the categories. You're also going to see a little arrow here, and these become really important because these are our filters, and these are what we're going to use to get the numbers that we need for our collection tool. The first thing I want to do, though, is just filter out for my own school, because if you notice on the collection tool, we are comparing the percentage of these categories from all students to gifted students. And that's going to help us see if there is equity in our school and if there's something that we can do in our modules to help build equity in some of these categories. So how I do that is I'm going to click on the little arrow next to the word school, and I'm going to uncheck select all, and I'm going to find my own school. For this tutorial, we're going to use Midi-Pilac Elementary School. And I can go ahead and close that out. If you notice right away that Midi-Pilac is the only school I can see now under school. And down here, this is a great spot, and this is where we're going to really focus on. It is this number 534. So we are only looking at the 534 students at Midi-Pilac Elementary School. So when you do your filter, the first number you get, that's going to go on this top box here, 534. This is needed because it's how we determine the percentage, because ultimately we want to compare the percentage here to the percentage here and see how close they are or how far apart and what we need to do to get them as close as possible to each other. So my first category on, I'm sorry, I clicked off of it again, is ethnic and racial identity. If you notice, number 1 is kind of grayed out, and that's because Hispanic is an ethnicity, and the other boxes are races. So they don't add up together in the same kind of way. And that can be kind of confusing because sometimes people will add all these numbers up and they'll say it doesn't match, and that's okay. This is, again, just for the ethnicity part. So we're going to start with that. First thing I need to do, excuse me, is filter out only those that said, yes, my ethnicity is Hispanic or Latinx. Latinx is the gender-neutral term that we're using now. For this category only, we are going to come over to this single ethnicity, and we are only going to check Hispanic. the reason that we want to just find the ones that only identified as Hispanic is because that number is going to match when we look at the gifted, and also it contributes to other pieces as well. So when I come down here, I see that 133 students only identified as Hispanic for their ethnicity and nothing else. So I'm going to write that on my demographic spreadsheet. Now I want to find the percentage. What percentage of students at my site say they're Hispanic? So that's where my calculator comes in. I'm going to type in my one number, and then the total number, and that gives me 0.2490 blah blah blah. To say the percentage, I'm pulling the decimal over 2 places. Because it's 0.9, I'm going to go ahead and round up and say this is 25% of students at this school are Hispanic or ethnicity. Now the next thing I need to remember in completing this is that I have to clear my filters each time. It gets a little tedious, but it is important. Okay? And now my next category that I want to find is how many students only identify as a race of American Indian or Alaskan Native. So my first filter is to say yes. And now I want to make sure that the answer is no for the other races. So I'm clicking that little arrow, and again, making sure that only no is selected for those. And when I do that, I find that there are 4 students, and I'm going to write that number here, and I'm going to find that percentage. Clear out my old one. 4 divided by 534 equals 0.7%. You may have a better way of doing your calculator, and please, by all means, do that way. That's just how I do mine. All right, I'm going to do one more of these together with you, and then I'll fill in the rest without you for time-wise. I want to make sure that I go back in and I'm going to clear all of my filters. Oops. Everything is selected again. Learn from my experiences. When I've forgotten to do this and I had to start all over again, it wasn't that fun. I'll go ahead and do Asian is my next category, so I want to say those who said yes, I am of Asian descent, and then I want to make sure that only no is available in the other categories. No, no, and no. You'll see why this is important in a minute. Oops, I moved my spreadsheet over. All right, this number is 6. So I'm going to say there are 6, and I'm going to find that percentage. 6 divided by 534 equals. So this is 1% of my total population. All right. Okay, I went ahead and completed the numbers for the rest of the races, but I needed to show you how to calculate multiracial. I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and, I actually don't need my spreadsheet at all. What I want to do is just add up the number of single race numbers and then subtract that from the total, and that's going to give me my multiracial number. So 4 plus 6 plus 38 plus 4 plus 438 gives me a total of 490. So 490 said that they had a single race. So if I subtract that from my total number, which is 534, I get 44. So 44 students said that they were of multiracial backgrounds. So I want to find that percentage, so 44 divided by 534 equals, and that looks like it's going to be 8% of my total student population. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of the rest of these categories. I want to show you a couple that may trip you up a little bit. So I'm going to skip down here to the IEP, dual exceptionalities. I want to clear all my other filters other than school. And I want to find the category of primary exceptionality. When I click on that, I want to have everything selected except for L, which is gifted, and the blanks, which means nothing. Once I do that, I find that there are 102 students with an IEP currently. And then again, I want to find my percentage there. So %19. Okay. This is not going to be something that you're going to find in the spreadsheet, nor is the gifted service model. So enrollment in courses of rigor and gifted service models is research that maybe you'll have an opportunity to reach out to a colleague who can help with that. All right, the last thing I want to show you is how I can repeat this process for only the gifted students on site. So I want to undo all of my filters. And now if you notice, the very last column says gifted student. And I am going to filter for only the ones that say yes. Now I have 52 gifted students on site. So I'm going to write that up here at the top. And then I'm going to go through the same process of filtering, keeping the school filter and keeping the gifted filter. But now I'm going to do the rest of the filtering as needed, just like I did for my main site. And that's it. Easy peasy, right? Once you do that, you're going to start to see some real information come to light. What is that comparison? Do I have close to 25% of my gifted population Hispanic? If I don't, why not? What are some barriers to identifying our Hispanic population on site? If I'm close to it, then the question is, how am I addressing their needs within my gifted curriculum? I hope this helps. If you have any questions, your instructors are always available to help.